Well,
that was our 50-second wow.
Well,
and clap.
And there's also the 50-second. Nick did not follow the instructions that were laid out for today's recording, and he's not wearing the exact outfit we agreed upon wearing for episode 1. So just trust and believe. I'm very upset.
Okay, I would think of all people, my sister would understand what it feels like to want to look good on camera. Because if I put that hat on, girl, I just washed my hair. It was wet. My hair would be flat. Remember, every single day you come into work after you wear a hat and you go, "Is my hair flat?"
Yeah, but
then my hair flat?
Yeah, but then I'm going on the floor. You're gonna be in the reservations office.
Oh, so you're saying it doesn't matter what I look like?
Technically, it doesn't.
I have to be out in public though. I have to take the public transit. I have to walk around that restaurant if I need to grab somebody. People do see me. So you're trying to say that my beauty doesn't matter, but yours does. Fascinating.
Well, fascinating.
I'm literally wearing the entirety of the outfit, though, besides the backwards baseball cap. It's just because my hair is much longer, and I think that just ultimately goes to show the growth. Literal, figurative, and physical.
Yeah, just not emotional.
No, because I'm constantly growing.
Well, it is.
I'm miles ahead of everybody else.
And I mean, for those like townspeople from like day one, and also visual learners from day one, if you're just listening to this, it would be hilarious if this is your first episode. We're going to be talking literally about the past year, but we said that. I said that I will make like a little, like dump about this. I haven't repeated an outfit once. Why? Because I'm the Carrie Bradshaw of this podcast. All my Peroots rise up. Woo, woo. But that
just goes to show consumer culture is killing us.
It's not consumer. It's just like me rotating through all of my wardrobe and being creative and inventive with all of my looks. So me actually taking a second to think about what I want to give the public.
Some of us have capsule wardrobes because, we keep it cute, we keep it small, we keep it environmentally friendly.
Sure. All of my stuff is pretty environmentally friendly because I haven't, well,
there's a few places that you shop from that wouldn't be considered environmentally friendly.
There's some places that you eat that's probably considered would not be politically friendly. Hi, Pioneer Peru.
And I'm Trailblazer Nick.
And this is Pioneers and Trailblazers season finale.
Yay! A whole fucking year.
It's been literally 52 episodes of this, and it's kind of crazy. We're wearing the same outfits, basically, from the first episode, because we thought, why not just do an homage? And this is the first time I'm repeating an outfit, so I guess I've worn 51 outfits, 51 different outfits. This is a repeat.
Whatever. Congratulations.
Except, actually, I am doing something different than last year, because last year I had the blonde hair, and now I have the black hair. So
both of us have different hairs, yes.
Both of us have different hairs, yes. But you know what? I was gonna do like a couple shout outs from the get go, just to like get some people that submitted some stuff. I guess it's an icebreaker. There was one person, one townsperson that was trying to. Maybe we had just missed it, or it would just got lost in like the DMs or whatever. But there is one town person that we wanna make sure they feel seen because they reached out on all platforms.
Which one?
But first, I think I left a couple on red quick shout outs that I left on red, so you can just go on any of the ones that are just left on red. Yeah. Oh, let's shout out this person called Edom saying that it's time for a marathon. But speaking of the hiatus, so
sure, shout out.
Thank you so much. Shout out for you for doing a little marathon of PNT. We really appreciate it.
We love and support.
A marathon of PNT while we're on hiatus. Go ahead and talk. Wait, here, there's one person. I believe maybe there. Yeah.
Shout out, please. Love you guys so much. Listening to you guys makes me so smile and laugh every time. So hello from Winnipeg, Manitoba. LOL XOXO from Chloe.
Okay, Chloe. Okay,
shout out, Chloe.
Canadian townsperson love. And then I think. Oh, this person is this a townsperson? Yes.
Yes. That's a longer thing, but
do you want to just touch on that later?
Yeah, let's touch on that later because we can go into the some of the stuff that's being recommended for us. Shout out to Valedictorian, recently left NYC and now in SoCal. Love the pod and slut stories. Oh, that's from May.
Wow.
Oh, so we haven't shut out in a while. Oh, doesn't follow us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow, Valedictorian, we would love you more if you followed us.
Wow. Hold on. Okay, I think that's it.
Okay, cool.
That seems to be it.
Thank you so much.
The message that you from When you tagged Raheem.
Oh yes, oh my god, still not seen.
Yeah, just on sent. That's
Wow,
so
Raheem,
funny.
if you're listening now, if you become a townsperson last minute, I still would.
We love and support you.
But what I was gonna say is thank you for those people who have also sent emails. So we have like a few emails that we're gonna be able to use for like the capsule mini episodes. But please feel free to continue the email. You know, we'll get to that at the end of the pod. But anyway, so what a year it's been. Out of all people that I could have done this podcast with, I wouldn't have done it with anybody else but you. And this is why I'm announcing my departure from Pioneers and Trailblazers.
Everybody cheers.
Everyone's like, ah!
They're like, thank God.
All the
finally.
nicknames are like, finally.
And everyone's like, please. We wish.
We
lift your prayers up. Lift your prayers up.
I like that. Lift the prayers up. But we said we give ourselves the homework to like listen to like our very first episode and see like the things that we talked about and like if there's been any growth or any updates or changes from like our very first episode. And right off the bat, the first thing that we talked about was wanting a man, which hasn't changed, and
it has kind of changed.
And
like in a way, I had this realization. I talked about it. I made a TikTok about it yesterday.
Boo.
Wow. I've had a comeback. Someone did comment though, wow, major fall off. And I was like, ooh, so I needed to hear that. It's the fire under my ass that I need to get back to work. Get my ass up and work.
Please.
No.
And if you want to say something to me, say it to my face. That's Miss Kamala.
Right, you did make that reference last week, I believe, as well.
I did.
God, I got it. I was referencing Kim Kardashian.
And I know that.
Okay, different K.
We love K's.
Not the cake. There are certain ones that we don't love.
Only 2 K's. We will never love a third.
No, yeah,
never.
No. But I had this realization yesterday because this ties into what else has happened here. Because the last episode was my first ever Sniffies hookup. Like the first episode of the podcast, that's what I talked about.
You actually explained like this Sniffies app is this thing.
Yes, we were on the forefront, and to think that like that was my first Sniffies hookup. How many months later we ended up working with them directly on our show and stuff, which was like so cool and stuff. And then now I am fucking by deal trade that I met off of Sniffies on the reg, and it's like really good. And like he texted me yesterday, so we hooked up. I'll get into this later, but we hooked up.
Get into it now.
Okay, fine, we'll get into it now. So this past weekend, but like the weekend before, when it was like the day that you left, like it was like Saturday to go to Ptown. We were gonna hang out on Friday because like last episode I said, oh, he might be coming over after, but then he messaged me and he was like, oh, I'm not. So he had like stuff going on and he was like, I don't know if I'll be able to make it or whatever. And I said that's fine. And so he's like, I'll come over mid-afternoon tomorrow if that's okay, and we can like do multiple rounds. And I was like, well, yeah, like that'd be good. So then he comes over on Saturday mid-afternoon. My roommate is gone, and then we're hanging out and stuff. We fuck for the first time. It was really, really good. And then we like sit and lay in my bed and chat and stuff, and then we fuck a second time, but then we don't finish the second time because he like got tired. He was like fucking me from behind, and he's like I'm sorry, I'm really worn out. And he's like,
it takes work to fuck you.
It does, because it's so athletic. Thank you very much. Because I'm doing gymnastics routines on the dick. I'm Simone Biles.
No, you're Jordan Childs.
Which one is that?
Wow. You're anti-America. Wow, Nick's anti-America.
Is that a man or a woman?
Oh, it's wow. Speaking of gender, which we'll get to later, wow.
Is that from the men's team or the women's?
It's the women's team.
Got it, because I was thinking, because there's that twink with the glasses who's on the men's team. That's
yeah,
straight.
his name's not Jordan Childs, baby girl. His name is some other Polish descendant, Matt Wodakowski. Jordan Childs is the girl who got bronze, and it was the first all-black.
This year?
Yes, where have you been?
I haven't paid attention to the Olympics this year.
But it's beyond the Olympics. It's just about like culture and like the developments of today in society.
I really don't pay attention to sports.
It's not just sports. It's just it was the first all black.
I understand.
It was the first all black Olympic gymnastics podium for the
Oh,
Olympics.
amazing.
It was Andrea. I forget her fucking last name. I'm blanking on the last name. Andrea from Brazil.
Oh, but so you hate America too?
She's Brazilian.
Oh.
And I love my Brazilian sister, and I was rooting for her from the get-go.
Clearly not enough.
Is Andrea Lopez or Andrea? It's not.
You don't love her enough because you don't know her last name. If you really loved her, you'd know.
You know
I know.
what?
I know. And now you're gonna cheat because you're gonna Google
I'm not
it.
gonna cheat because I actually care about getting my facts right, which you don't.
That is cheating.
Andrea Olympics.
Whatever. I'm happy for them. Great. I'm doing splits on the deal, dick. Okay, that's all I'm gonna. Oh, title it up. Splits on the deal, dick.
Well, I don't think it's Andrea. I will not be able to focus. Olympic gymnast. Okay. Rebecca Andrade. It's not Andrea. It's Rebecca Andrade. It was Rebecca
Wow.
Andrade.
So you really love her.
It was Rebecca Andrade, Simone Biles, and Jordan Chow's the first all-black podium at the Olympics for gymnastics, which was amazing. And like that's like the viral photo of Simone Biles and Jordan Chow's going like this to Andrea because she's Brazilian, but they're being great sportswomen and they're all supporting each other because they're all beautiful, amazing, strong, black, independent women. But then Miss Jordan. Because sorry I have to get into this now because I think if people really care about this, and it will make sense on the joke of me calling you Jordan Childs and not Simone Biles. It'll make sense. So there'll be a payoff.
I hope so. Because sometimes there is.
I promise there's a payoff. So she had originally gotten 4th place. She thought she was going to get 4th or 5th. Then there Jordan.
Okay.
So this other Romanian girl was bound to get bronze, right? But then there was a dispute on one of the, because in the Olympics you can, like a coach or your team can like dispute like a ranking, like a call, on like a deduction, like 0.5 or whatever. So they can challenge it and have it revised, right?
Got it.
So she thought she wasn't gonna get on the podium. The USA team went to challenge and like revise one of the grades. So then it went viral whenever the result came and it was adjusted and it was actually like approved their challenge and it bumped her up by like 0.5 of a point or something, which got her up from like 4th to 3rd. Oh. So it bumped her up because she had no idea she was going to place in the podium. Okay. And so you get her reaction of finding out that they had revised her score and it bumped her up to 3rd for bronze, and she's like losing her fucking mind because she's like, I cannot believe it, like I'm going to be on the podium. So she goes on the podium and it's like everyone, every fucking news outlet is just like, divas up, like rise up, love, women of color, power, like that. So everyone's really happy about it. Next thing you know, Olympics are over. The Olympic committee or whatever makes an announcement that they're taking away the bronze from her because after a revision, and I think the Romanian team had like filed a complaint or something that happened in which technically the USA team hadn't submitted the request for the scoring. They were like 40 seconds late within the 60-second timeline that you have to submit like a challenge. So they had missed the challenge by like 40 seconds. And so like they like revised it all and they're just like, no, we're going to strip away her medal actually. So I'm calling you the Jordan Childs because you're getting your medal stripped from you. So you're not the
Simone. Wait, that's fucked up.
Isn't that crazy? See, actually you were invested in it. I know when you invested.
I'm assuming it was a white bitch.
A Romanian white bitch who also, it's not her fault, like she just competed, she wasn't trying.
It is her fault. Blame women.
Did you the rumbling?
No, there was like
the pain.
There was like something outside, like there was like a flash of dark.
Oh my, a flash of dark.
I was like crazy. I was like, oh my god.
Anyway,
the white women heard me.
Yes, me.
And you're like, don't shit on my sisters.
But when the joke so paid off because I'm calling you the Jordan Childs of the dick,
and we all laughed.
And we all.
So then, so I'm doing splits on the deal, dick, and he was like fucking me. I really wanted him to fuck me missionary because we basically the first time we fucked, we just did it me riding him the whole time, which was like fine. I enjoyed that, but I wanted some switch up. I really wanted him to fuck me missionary, and then he was like, oh, I want to fuck you from behind, and I was like, okay. So then he was fucking me from behind, and all of a sudden he was like, I have to stop. I'm all out of energy, and I was like, that's totally fine. And he just like kept apologizing to me the whole time, and I was like, girl, don't worry about it. And then we just like laid in my bed.
I appreciate.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And then we like got like he went to go use the bathroom, and at that point my roommate had come home, and so when he went to use the bathroom, I had gotten a text from her being like, "Hey, I'm just gonna have a friend over to like hang out, watch a movie, just so you know or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, girl, like whatever." And then at the same time, like he comes back and he's like wearing his like shirt and shorts or whatever, and like we're just like in my bed and we're kind of just like talking and like snuggling up with each other. It was honestly really cute. And then Peru calls me like twice, drunk out of his mind, to be like, "Why are you answering?" I like kept texting me.
We had already talked.
I had texted. No, we hadn't already talked.
We hadn't FaceTimed yet?
No, because you texted me and you were like, "I want to talk to you," because I didn't call you back until I went to go get dinner. I went to go get food and pick up after.
Oh yeah, and then it was
because my phone kept ringing and I was like, "Who's calling me?" And the first time it was Peru, and then I was like, "I'm not answering," so I like just let it ring, and then I texted him and I said, "Oh, the DL trade is still here," and then you responded something along the lines of, "Actually, I could
kick him out."
You were like, get rid of him, get him out. I need to talk to you. We're in Ptown, and I was like, I was like, "Girl, no." I was like, "He's here," and then like 20 minutes later, you call me back, and then I was like, "He's still here," and you were like, get him out. And so then finally by deal trade is like, okay, I'm gonna go home, because at this point maybe it was like 8 o'clock or something, and he came over to my apartment at like 3 or 4. So like he's been there for a couple of hours. And so we both get dressed and stuff, and we're chit-chatting and everything, and then he exits my bedroom and like walks down the hall to get his shoes by like the shoe rack or whatever. But my roommate and her friend were sitting on the couch like chit-chatting or whatever, and so they like turned and saw him, and they were like, "Hey," and he was like, "Hi." And then he was like, he's like, "Do I have everything?" Grabbed his shoes. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go now." And like it was, I think, I had said something the last time. I was like, "Well, my roommate's gonna be here," when he came over, and he like made a joke being like, "Oh no, like no worries," or whatever, thinking that she would just like probably stay in her own room, which she did the first time we hung out. But I think seeing other people, because again, he's DL.
Yeah.
And so I think
he's bi DL.
So he got like a little nervous, and then he was like, "Okay, I got my shoes. I'm gonna go." And then he like walked to the hallway, and I was like, "Well, I'll walk you down outside." So like I walked him down or whatever, and then he like kissed me goodbye or whatever, and all that fun stuff. But then I had this realization.
But what is happening besides the kiss?
Well, he like said,
getting on your knees at the door, all that fun stuff. What are you doing?
In front of my landlord's apartment.
Yes,
No, just that. And then he said goodbye, and then I went and got dinner, and then on my way to get dinner, you called me again, and then you were drunk at dinner, and then you just kept passing the phone to every single person. Send it to townsperson Alex, townsperson Robert,
town council members.
Yeah, town council members, and every time someone would come on the screen, they were all drunk out of their mind. They're like, "Nick, we love you, we miss you," and just like it was so funny. And then I kept being like, "Okay, I'm gonna let you all get back to your dinner," because you were like on your phone and you were like like FaceTiming me like this and like bleh, and
I was just checking myself out.
No, you were like basically just like looking at yourself, and mind you, there were other people sitting at tables behind you, and I would catch them like look and like kind of give side eye. I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna let you enjoy your dinner since you're at your table," and then you kept being like, "Oh no, where are you going?" Oh, we're gonna go to this place next, and like we're gonna go to this party, and I was like, "Okay, like have fun, like I'm gonna get my food," and then I ate my dinner and I went home and I smoked a joint and I went to bed.
Well, that's actually connecting to like the stories that we were gonna talk about.
Oh, but then to tie it all together, I had this realization yesterday where I was like, I'm getting dicked down by a man who is nice to me. It's purely platonic. He like wants to be friends, and like he's very friendly. He texts me midweek, asks me how I'm doing, kind of stuff. There's like no romance or whatever, but I'm getting my needs met, sexually speaking. And then I like have beautiful friendships in my personal life that fulfill me in ways that like a partner probably would. So I just feel like I have a partner like split up amongst different people, if that makes sense. Like I'm getting my needs met in various ways. That's like a very balanced. It's not all from one person.
Well, I think the growth for you, from what I'm gathering, is like, like the joke is, like if anyone ever shows any nice teas to you or like any pleasantries or sweets to you, like you just fall in love with them. You become like you want them to be your boyfriend. But I feel like the growth comes with you, that just knowing that you can just take, DL by DL daddy for what it is. Like he's being sweet to you, you have great sex, and it doesn't have to be anything more than that. And like you're learning to like be like, oh, that's enough. Like it doesn't need to become anything else for it to be valuable. Like there's value just in that. And
also there's value. What I found is like I'm also now fucking more people that are a little bit more age appropriate. Like like closer to me in age. Right. let's pull up the receipts and compare yours to theirs. But it's interesting because I felt like I was constantly just hooking up, and I've said this before multiple times on this podcast, but I like fuck older dudes mostly just as a form of self-preservation, because I know I won't catch feelings. But then, because I was so concerned, like, if I were to fuck people that I was more attracted to that are closer to me in age, I'd immediately want them to be my boyfriend and like freak the fuck out. And you know, I put myself out there, took a risk, and that's not how it is, and that's great. And you can still have fun, and you can still enjoy yourself, and like have queer friendships that are sexual.
From that part of the story, we led on episode 1, Idea of a Dick. And again, actually, thank you so much for waiting for this late drop for the season finale. I know, I'm going to try to get this up ASAP because I'm editing this last one. But you know, I think it was nice to have like some time away. And like we did have an argument over the phone yesterday, so we're back on track. And
that's a sign that the season's coming to a close.
This is going to a close. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I've been doing this consistently for like, 52 weeks actually. It is exhausting. It is tiring.
Especially when this is your co-host.
Mm-hmm. I am a lot, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
You should.
But last year, I remember the one notorious change from last year to this year is that I went to Provincetown again. It was my second time going with the same group of people, except town council member Spencer, who was terribly missed, and we kept abreast on all of the activities. We were just communicating, sending photos, even sent him a little postcard from Ptown with like a few things. Like, it was really cute, to make sure that he feels like present in the trip. But the biggest development is that I did not lose a single thing on this trip.
Thank God. I'm so proud of you.
I'm waiting for the applause.
Yay!
For any visual learners, that was Nick's attempt at a haphazard clap for me. He couldn't even put his microphone down for a clap. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm proud of my sister. It took long enough.
For those of you that are, day one townspersons and visual learners, you all know that I famously lost my phone at the Dick Duck in Provincetown. For those of you who don't know what the Dick Duck is, I will get into it really quickly. But we went to Provincetown, which is off the Cape in Massachusetts, and we drove up there. It was town council member Robert, town council member Alex, town council member John, and then Zach, who I don't think is a townsperson, but he's a supporter of the pot. You know what's so funny too? Episode number 1, which makes sense, obviously. Episode number 1, one of the first catchphrases that we had is said by you on episode 1.
Of course.
Trust and believe.
Thank you.
You said trust and believe for the first time on episode 1. Guess what's one of the most quoted things on this Provincetown trip?
Trust and believe.
The way that Zach, Alex, and John and Robert, especially Robert and Zach, just literally saying trust and believe. The impact that phrase has had in my life, in town council members, and I'm sure townspeople at home, because if it's catching along so and it's not even like they also see you all the time. Like, they listen to the podcast on a weekly basis. So they're listening to you saying it, and I listen to it even twice as much because we're saying trust and believe to each other all the fucking time.
It's funny because I also will say it a lot in TikToks, and then people will comment, they're like, trust and believe, and it's I think that's really funny. I don't know where I heard that from. Certainly don't think I came up with it. I feel like I probably heard it from somebody else or something.
Yeah, a lot of things, it's okay to know that it's you're referencing something.
Yeah. But I'm not sure. I can't remember for the life of me what it is that I'm referencing. But for the longest time, I felt like I've just said it, and then Peru one time went, I started saying that because of you and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, interesting. And then I'm trying to go back and be like, where did I heard this? And I'm like, well, maybe I did just make it up. Maybe I am an influencer. My impact on the culture.
The thing with Nick and I is that Nick will originate something sometimes.
Original, yeah, you heard it.
Which,
original.
By the way, the trust and believe that the title of this podcast came from me, and let not anybody forget that.
Oh no, she will never let anyone.
I will never let anybody forget. I came up with the concept of a pioneer. So, oh, by the way, great segue, and then we can go into Ptown. It was one of the townspersons. Oh, fuck, I forgot. You know what? My apologies. Like, I know this, but keeping everything in order, like all the requests, everything, like we really have to come with a better strategy to, like, you know, like have like an Excel spreadsheet or like a thing to keep everything in order, you know, so I don't miss anybody. But I do know one of you townspersons, and if I find it online, I'll go through the files and shout you out. But thank you for submitting this. Oh, I think it's in the email. It's one of the emails. So you know what? I'll save it.
Okay.
Because one of the emails was like, "What's the origin of pioneers and trailblazers?" I don't. The email said like, "I don't know where it came from." That could be something cute to discuss.
Sure.
That the fated day. Anyway.
Okay, get into Ptown, bitch.
So no. But wait. Nobody knows this, but like Nick will say something and I will clock it and I'll be just like, oh, like that's funny or whatever, and like we'll just keep saying it. But then of course me being the like popular diva,
oh, it's like when the kid in the back of the class makes a joke and then the person who's louder says it louder, so that everyone's like, you would not believe how often that happens to me in my life.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm crediting my sister.
Thank you. Credit where credit is due.
I'm crediting it, but I am still the one who's delivering it and spreading it like wildfire. So trust and believe, like I'll get something out. So then, of course, like they were in this trip. It was trust and belief #1 most quoted thing in the fucking trip.
Okay.
#2 was, well, I got it, because we just can't stop saying I got it. It is funny too, because like a lot of them don't like the comeback. But like they know the viral.
Why do they not like it? It's some of the. It's
an acquired taste of the comeback, you know. Like you have, it's like it's a different stylistically, it's a different show, the comeback. But if you're into that kind of like really like, it's satirical to a point where it's almost real, and I think that's what makes it so great, because you know.
But it's also just fucking funny.
It is very funny, but you know, some people just like more streamlined and I guess you know
they
traditional storytelling.
However, how does it feel to have COVID? Because you lack taste.
Not a COVID joke. Wow.
And that's an old joke too. Yes. Well, girl.
I got it. Well, I got it.
People have been getting it.
Oh my god. Well, what I've been getting is dicked. So, Town Council member Alex and I had a little bit of a competition. Because we were just like, okay. Which, by the way, like, we also like operate like sexually. Like, so, okay, so I wanted to go on this trip, and as many of you guys know from a couple episodes ago, one of I think town person Errol, I believe, sent me a sweet DM being like, I hope you were able to relax and like do the things that you wanted to do, and I did. Last year, I feel like it was my first time, and I really wanted to go there and like ham it out, party every night, like go crazy every night. Which was the case. Like we had a really great time every night. But I also wanted to prioritize like waking up and like having a great morning and like doing stuff in the morning and like laying out by the pool, read a book. Like I was able to finish my book again. Like all these like relaxing and things that are outside of just drinking and partying. So that was really good. That with the fact that I did not lose anything. I definitely did not lose the camcorder. The camcorder is here. It has so much footage.
From the TikTok?
No.
Oh.
Like
you didn't want to make content?
Honey.
You didn't want to jumpstart the OnlyFans?
If a light comes on, because somebody did, who told me this? I think Alex was telling me that while he was walking through at some point, somebody had a flash on because they were looking for somebody else's phone, and I was like, I've been there, sister. Okay. I was like,
that was me last year.
That was me. Do you need help, sister? Because I will help you out. But no, this year, a couple of the highlights. One of the ones that was really interesting to me is that we were staying at the hotel where the Dick Duck is at. It's called the Boat Slip, and I can say that because I'm not there right now. But it's called the Boat Slip Hotel, and it's like the main hub where like everything kind of like stems from. That's where like the tea dance happens every day. That's where like Nick, I tell you, like the themed tea parties happen, you know. So it was like there was like a gold day, a rainbow day, an pretty in pink day, and so like we all like matched outfits. It was like a dog tag day, in which we all had dog tags made by town council member Robert.
For pretty in pink, I'd just be whole out.
Whole out. I think everyone was just like, yikes.
She's like pretty in pink, and people are like, no, mama, that's brown.
But there was this group of people. There was this one guy who, well, I guess I won't say the name, but this one guy who we all met and has a connection to somebody else in the group who I also won't say, hit all four of us up, me, Zach, Alex, Robert.
On Grindr?
in all different forms of ways, like hit us up, send us an album, and we talked, and like
Hot?
and I was like really good looking, and then I was like, wait, you like the Spider-Man meme, were like, you also got the dick pics. Like, so this person was literally just like fucking like free willy-nilly like sending the fucking like album out, and then of course I shoot my shot, but it was only 2 other people that were selected to go join the party at their house. And
From the group? Who was it? Who from the group got to go?
I don't want to say too much on that, because I mean, this.
I mean, I can guess.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
I figured. I figured as such.
No, but there is a lot that goes to that story too, which I guess I'll tell you off pod. But trust and believe, this is like we had been to the house where that happened because the day of the carnival,
The room where it happened.
Not the room. I wasn't privy enough to get invited to the room, but
I was making a joke, Hamilton joke.
I get it. That's what I'm saying. I made that room would happen joke earlier this week, Mom, on my Insta, thanks to Michelle Collins. Okay, so it's top of mind. Trust and believe.
So she wanted a name drop.
Yeah, I recorded live from Ptown.
Oh, you dropped this.
Anyway, so we had gone to their house for a pre-party, like a pre-game soiree before Carnival. So we had gone there. We had met. Oh, Mama, you would lose your mind because first of all, 90% of everyone in Ptown, DC, just DCY gays, because it's gotten so astronomically expensive to go over there that like we're noticing like the people that are able to go to Ptown. It's like I'm like, wow, like sometimes I was just like, where are my sisters who work in hospitality, who are like the performers are performing there,
and the ones working in hospitality, Mama, they're serving
they're serving me. And then I was like, oh my god. And I mean that's just to point out, not to say anything about people going to Ptown, but it is something that's like top of mind for me too, where I'm just like, wow, like everyone we met at tea, at dinner or anything, where are you from? DC or Boston. Everyone's from DC or Boston. Everyone's a lawyer, or
because I feel like
everyone's in fucking in the politics scheme.
But I also think it's
in finance.
Isn't it also because Boston makes sense because
it's
Massachusetts.
Right, it's an hour. Yes, it's just a ferry right away.
And like the New York gays tend to go to Fire Island because it's closer.
Yeah, I mean, there were plenty of New York. Obviously, let's talk about celeb sightings.
Well, because Miss Reese Havoc was there the same weekend you were.
Miss Reese Havoc, who like spotted me, trust and believe, and I was like, "Hello, Reese." We had a cute moment of like celebrity housewives.
You're like, no autographs.
I was like, no autographs. No, and I love Miss Reese Havoc, aka Austin, when they're off track. But Miss Hanukkah Lewinsky was also there. If you're in the New York City,
engaged. Got engaged.
Oh my god,
got engaged in Provincetown. I saw that on Twitter.
Oh my god, congrats. Miss Billy Eichner was there, same as last year. We talked about Miss Billy Eichner being in thing. Miss Billy Eichner may have had contact with somebody in our group, may not. Miss Eichner may have also responded or not. I will not disclose or confirm nor deny, but Miss Eichner was present. More celeb site. Oh, the one that we have a gripe to pick with.
A bone to pick?
I thought it was a gripe. Is it a bone?
No,
you
gripe.
pick a bone?
You can say gripe is yes, but the phrase is bone to pick.
We have gripes. Okay. Bone.
Gripes.
Gripes. In front of my salad.
Grape soda. Anyway, continue.
Okay, all right. I think the jokes are just getting worse and worse this episode. It's the season finale. My God, we gotta deliver.
We're
tired.
I start yawning.
Famously from Queer Eye, Miss Anthony.
Oh.
Anthony was there, and I believe actually Anthony was also there last year. I don't recall us talking about it, and I don't recall us seeing Miss Anthony, but Miss Anthony was present at Ptown, live and well. And I've met Anthony at my place of work, our place of work, and famously kind of like rude and bitchy, came into dinner.
Everything that I've heard about Miss Thing is never positive.
Never positive. And he's, like hot, so all the gays just want to fuck him, which makes sense. But like it gets to a point where like, okay, like some people don't mind if Anthony is rude or mean or just a diva because it's like whatever expected and they're okay as long as they're in the inner circle, They're like, if he likes me, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm a part of the group. I'm popular.
Yeah. And like he came in with Gigi Hadid, and Gigi Hadid, who I've met at Gigi, if you're watching, diva.
Have you seen that video where she's like posing outside the store and then it's just like someone going Gigi, I love you, Gigi.
Did she acknowledge it?
No, I have to find it. Keep talking. It's so funny. I'm gonna play it. Just keep going.
Well, and so I guess was to say this, like, it's always the ones that you think are gonna be like nice or not nice. Like, you would think Gigi Hadid is like a world-renowned supermodel, global supermodel, and she comes in and she's the sweetest. She makes eye contact with you. She was very nice.
Wait, no, that's what I want.
That's Sniffy's girl.
No, keep talking. Keep talking.
Well, now I'm just gonna be distracted. This Italian woman loves Gigi.
That's me.
Gigi, I love you. Well, we do. I love Gigi. Miss Anthony, though. And guess what? This is what really sealed the deal. This is what's spotted by our close friend John. Anthony famously has a dog, and he lives in NoHo, because every time I go to Soul Cycle, like, I see him walking his dog around.
Mm-hmm.
He uses a shock collar with his dog, which is very controversial and not good. And our great close friend of ours, John, who was on a trip with us, famously works at a shelter and, like, like, animal advocate and, very much, Wait,
okay. I have a question, though. Why a shock collar in the city? Because what is that? Because maybe I'm ignorant or don't understand, but I've only ever known one person who had a dog that used a shock collar, and it was so they just, like, wouldn't run away from their yard. Like, there was like a invisible fence that was like whatever, and so then anytime they would, like, cross the fence, it'd be like bzz, and then it'd be like a vibration and go back. How does that? What is the point of that in, like, a big city? Because, like, how does?
Well, the point is the same whether it's in the suburbs or the city. It's you're trying to get your dog to not do something through harm.
Oh, so he just has a little button where he's probably just going bzzz.
Of course. So, like, the whole sense of shock collars is, like, you're trying to train your dog not via safer ways of just training them not to do something that you don't want to.
It's like hitting your kids.
It's like hitting your kids. Basically, you're shocking your dog you're harming your dog as a way to tell them not to do something.
Anthony, abusive parent.
No,
TMZ.
Not even a joke though. Like, it's very much like, if you're like a supporter of animal rights, like, shock collars are like big no. Like, it's basically being like the only way you can teach your animal to do something is by harming them, which is not good. And like we were being very educated by John on this topic. So it's basically like the argument is always like, well, I've tried it, so it doesn't hurt. I've tried it on myself, so it doesn't really hurt. Well, first of all, you're a human. You can anticipate getting harmed. You can anticipate getting shocked. An animal has no wherewithal when it's gonna get shocked. You can tell your dog you're about to get shocked, so you're gonna anticipate it. And then number two, if it didn't hurt, it wouldn't work, because then the whole point is that it's gonna hurt the dog, so the dog knows, oh, this hurts. I can't do this, or like because
every time I do this thing, it's gonna happen.
Yep. No, but also, like, I'm in distress. Like, the dog is not being like, oh. Like, oh, okay, like, oh, yes, right. It's like, it's more like your dog's just reacting out of being hurt.
Yeah.
So anyway, our friend John clocked that, and I wanted to put it out in the open here on this public space that Anthony does have his dog wearing a shock collar, and that is considered animal abuse to a lot of us, and we don't support that. So I saw some Queerty post something about Anthony just dropped like a new line of shorts or something, and the gays are thirsting over his thick thighs and whatever, and I just commented below, and I was like, we're not thirsting for the animal abuse he's imposing on his dog. Saw her.
Did you say that?
Of course, I commented. People are liking it.
Oh, good.
This is not something that, like, I'm even making up about him. It's like a fact that we saw him a couple times, and John was the one who spotted it, and John was the one that, like, the second time he saw it, he was like, if I see Anthony again a third time, I will say something, because John is very passionate about that, and I was very supportive of that, and I thought I was really brave.
Well, happy for that.
So that was the last celeb sighting. But beyond that, it was a really fun time. I'm sure many of you who follow me at Hey Peru saw this story, so I'm not going to bore you with too much of what happened on the daily. I did get tan, as y'all can see. I am very tan. I'm basically a different ethnicity at this point, and I can say that.
Can you? Can you say it?
Yeah, I'm just from a different region of Peru. Got you.
What is there to get? What is there to get me?
I was going something with it anyway. But Dick Dog. Okay. So I famously had loads on the double digits.
I'm aware because I was getting updates of the load count as it was happening.
Load count. I don't know about load count.
No, I like DL. I like splits in the
Splits in
DL.
DL. It's cute. It's cute. But I'm editing, so I get to choose.
Wow.
Wow. Let me just say, this is a trip in which, I guess like my anatomy was really on my side. There was famously Imodium. Oh, trust, I'll be posting these photos. Everything in Ptown is gay oriented. You go to the pharmacy, there's like the local mom and pop pharmacy within Ptown, and you can walk out like about like 10 minutes out and go to like a CVS. The fucking mom and pop pharmacy, I posted this on my photo dump. $23 for Imodium.
How much is it normally?
Here it's like $15 for like a 24 pack or whatever, or like a 12 pack.
Inflation, mama.
And literally, you go in there and they know their target audience.
Oh, 100%.
And then the CVS has literally a whole wall. Oh, let me show you here so you can actually see it. It's a wall of fleets. It's the wall of fleets. Oh, here's the guy, the guy that fucked me, which he was one of the good highlights.
Okay.
Here is the fleet wall, and mind you, Alex, of course, because Alex is the connoisseur of all of the, all of the ins and outs, or like what's happening. Oh, it's a dog tag. But the last day before we left, he's like, Peru, you have to go see the fleet wall. Look at the fleet wall.
Oh my god, the fleet wall is, wow, that's so funny.
So it's not even like, okay, Peru's just like a section where they have the fleet. No, Nick, as you can see, it's literally,
because if you go to any other CVS, it's like maybe there's
at the very bottom.
At the very bottom, and there's 2 boxes.
Yeah, it's like 2 rows of fleets. This is an entire, imagine like the cold and flu aisle, where it's like all different. It's literally just fleet. So they know. They know what's happening there. And then at the CVS, there was also Imodium on sale. So it was...
So you stocked up?
We did. It was like buy one, get the second box half off.
Wow.
So it was 2 boxes of 24 each for $15. I was like, oh my God, it's worth walking. So I support Big Pharma in this case because I was going to get my Imodium for cheap. And then I ended up getting a fleet earlier in the week. So I have never... I guess I've changed in growth from last year. Thank you for covering the yacht. Oh, that was so cute.
I just didn't want to get yelled at again.
It's like my shock collar response to me yelling to you.
You're the Anthony, I'm the dog. Wait, a Halloween costume.
No, because John would hate it. Oh my God. John, I did not make that joke. Not me being Anthony, you the dog.
Well, I mean, I look like a poodle.
What you do. I've grown from that. I took probably the biggest 2 dicks in my life in Ptown this past week.
How big?
Here. This is a banana boat, and this is not even exaggerating because I can actually measure it here, and it'll probably confirm my suspicions. So let's measure what this bottle, because let me tell you, I'm not even joking, Nick, when I tell you this. The girth of this banana boat bottle, it's about 2 millimeters off from the actual girth of this penis that I took.
Larger or smaller? Like in terms of girth? Like
no, in terms of girth, like it's smaller, but I mean it's basically this. And then, how tall is this? Tell the visual learners what I'm doing. Oh, the listener.
The listeners, he's pulled out a tape measure and is measuring the bottle. That's a 7. It's like 7.5.
Oh, so.
I'm taking 9.
I'm thinking 9, but not this thick. His was probably like, well, actually, it was probably this. It was probably like 7.5. So. This is what I put in my butt. I'll be maybe like half an inch longer. Now, what happened? The ghosts are here. It takes some acquired level of like mental gymnastics to like do, because the first time I did it was with a couple that I ended up seeing again at the Dick Dog 2 days later. It was a couple, married couple who were like both tops, typical story.
Do you have like little like a conversation before you start sucking dick and shit? So, like, how did you find out that they were a married couple?
Because they put it on the grinder.
Oh, this is all information.
Married couple.
You don't walk up to them and they're like, so we're a married couple.
No. So, yeah. And for the most part, all of my sexual interactions were done like through communicating via Grindr or at the Dick Dog. Whereas like some other of us like met someone. Like this year I didn't meet anyone in person that I was like, oh, let's go hook up. Like that didn't happen to me this year, unfortunately. But which is fine. Like I don't mind that I was with my girls. So I went to their hotel. It was the day of the carnival. The parade was taking so long that I was like, well, might as well just go get fucked by two guys. And so I went to their hotel. I was so proud of myself at what I was able to do, because it was
DP again.
It was no. I would have just gotten wrecked, literally shipwrecked, or shit wrecked.
Well, yeah, girl, because you'd be shitting everywhere.
Because I was like, in the photo, it really is different when you see it in the photo and then when you see it in person. When you're like holding onto a dick and like you're like fucking like index and like your thumb cannot wrap around it, it does. In your head, I was just like, so I remember at one point I was blowing one who was a little smaller than the other, and guess what? The one with the hugest cocked, the slender one of the two, you know,
well,
like,
that's usually how it goes.
And so I got on my knees and I saw it, and I literally did this, Nick. I was like, well, and then I was like, because I was like, let's see how this goes, and then I'm going just fine. I was feeling, you know, like I needed like an extra head of poppers to just get it all the way, but once it's in, it's all good. So in that scenario, in the safety of someone's room, it's easy to be like, okay, like let's take it easy. Let's, you know, like, okay, maybe let's try this and that, different position, finish it.
But at the Dick Dog.
But at the Dick Dog, it's basically like you're on stage, you know, like it's either you show up or show out or you get out.
You're Lady Raven performing at her concert in the middle of the afternoon in the Trap film. You gotta perform.
Yeah, I think it's streaming on Paramount Plus now.
Is it really? I saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I paid
money
for it.
Well spent.
I got so high. I loved it. I thought it was so ridiculous and so funny, but I thought it was.
But sometimes it's fun to just see a ridiculous.
Yeah,
movie.
it was campy.
Yeah, we love camp. But anyway, so the tide this year was really high. So like the first half of the week at the Dick Dog, nobody could go down because the tide wet as fuck. It's because
you couldn't be down there.
Nobody could be down there because it
You'd
was
be drowning.
You'll be drowning. But then
drowning and come. It
was like every year you're like checking and you're like, oh, high tide, you know, whatever, and then. Of course, the day is low tide. Everyone's running. It's like Black Friday sale. Everyone's just like running towards the Dick Dog.
Out, just like swinging.
My first time, I actually had 2 encounters below at the Dick Dog that weren't during Dick Dog hours, which is like after 11 p.m. I had them in the middle of the afternoon, which is really risky because like no one's down there. People are just doing normal stuff, you know, like taking a walk or like sitting by the sand, you know, like people are just hanging out. No one's down there. Good photos. But like I was feeling frisky, like this ginger I just showed you, and then this other guy. Oh, actually, I did have sex with somebody I did meet at somebody that Robert. Well, whatever. But I'm just gonna cut to. Sorry, this is going on forever. But like, it's the big Ptown reveal. The last day was Friday, and it was the closing night party. And I supposed to last year, like one of the 2 days that I went out there, it was busy, and I recall telling you that like it was busy. Oh, mama. The Friday at the Dick Dog, that could be the Friday at the Dog. It was the place to be. I got there earlier.
Provincetown's hottest club.
Hottest club is the Dick Dog.
The Dick Dog. It has everything. Dicks, docks, sand,
water. I got
crabs.
I got there. Maybe. Oh no, I was on Doxypep the entire trip, honey.
No, I mean like the animal.
Oh, okay. There were. I got there on the earlier side, so you know, it's like when you get to the party and like it's like a good vibe. And by the time I left, I couldn't even walk. Like there was a line to get out. It was so incredibly packed. Friday, I did the Lord's work. I was going from place to place. I was getting and I was getting selected. I was getting grabbed. One of the hottest. It was this guy. He was like beautiful body, scruffy hair. That kind of hair that's like short enough to you know, but it's not too long. And I think you like that kind of hair too, where it's just like it's outgrown enough, you know, and it goes all the way down. And he had like a beautiful scruff. It was giving like Jersey poppy, but super like, oh, it was so good. And then it was really cute because at that point, like there were a couple people that were trying to make out with him, and then kind of like a movie, like I walked by and I looked at him and we both made eye contact, and then he pulled me in, and I was like, I've been chosen. So I get chosen, and of course I get down on my knees and I start working
To pray.
and it was to pray, and it was so hot because like as soon as I started blowing him, he started closing his eyes. He was like,
Because he's like, fuck, I grabbed the wrong person. He's like, fuck, I guess we're stuck now.
And then of course like other people are watching, and the thing is with the dick dog, it is so performative, Nick, and I don't know that you would be able to do it. And
I don't think I would,
because like at one point
I couldn't go into the dark room at Animal. I don't think I could do.
But at least that's like darker and like not. I mean, I guess people still watch, but like at this point, it's like depending on where you are. If you're facing the water, people can see you because the reflection of the sun, the moon's lighting, it's really on the front of the dog. So like, and I love being there. It's my favorite because I like everyone to see. So then I was like, do you want to fuck me? He was like, of course. And then we're like, fucky. And like, there's always that one.
And is everyone standing while they're fucking? Like, no one's, is like anyone like back on laying on the sand? Like,
no one was looking at Sandy. No.
So it's all just standing.
It's either standing or engaging or
you're
jerking
hanging.
off around you.
Are you
or
hanging from the?
Or because this Friday was just that there was so much. There were like so many groups happening. There was so much activity that it was like effectively. So it's like a supermarket or like being like at a show, you're just walking through. It's like a fair. You're like, oh, look at that. More. Yes, it's like, oh, look, there's like a little twosome there. Oh, look, a three. Oh, look, there's a gangbang of this one bottom. Oh, look, the guy's blowing everyone. Oh, look, the guy's taking 4 loads. So you just keep walking by, and then you choose like where you want to ingrain yourself, or you just choose one guy. And at one point, I was like so horny that I was walking by, and I would grab a guy, and I would like push others to be able to like bend over like the like dock, the woody part, and then I would be like, okay, I'm good, and then I would just like keep walking and like grab another. But it was really fun. And then the big grand finale was when I got the most loads at once. Was that couple from their hotel room happened to be down there too, and I was like, oh. But then at that point, I was like, okay, this is it. This is the biggest group. I am the star now. And I was like Maxine. I was like
Pearl.
I was like Pearl. And I was like, this is the moment that counts. Because they clocked me. They wanted it. There were 2 other guys in front of me. There's like 2 white like muscle jocks guys. One like wearing a baseball cap. And I was like, okay. And they all like were around me. And I was like, this was it. I was like, this is the one. I want to take it and then go home. This is my grand finale. And then, of course, at that point, I'm on the dark part of the dick dog. And everyone's either walking by or, like, just watching. They just want to watch what's happening. And I was like, okay. And at that point, I was carrying my poppers, I was like, okay. I was like, okay. And, like, I couldn't make it look like, like it wasn't going to go in or, like, it wasn't going to happen. Or, cause
you're a professional. You have to keep it.
So the first one goes, and I'm like, okay. All right. Then they switch. The other guy goes, and I'm like, okay. And then the big one goes, and I was like, okay, Peru, even if it hurts, you can't stop. Like, you have to keep going. Did such a good job.
I'm so happy.
I was so happy. And it was going so well that I was just doing it all. I was like racing my fucking leg. I was like, no, like hold my hand, hold my thigh. And I was like, yeah, held it. I was like, show everyone. I was like, yeah, you fucking like that, showing me how to get my pussy wrecked. And then everyone was just like, yeah. And that was so good. I was so proud of myself. And then there was this one creepy guy who just kept following me around.
Ugly,
and he just kept following me at one point, and I was like, I just kept pushing him aside because I didn't want to have a Karen moment in the fucking deck and be like, I don't want you. But I mean, it does be happening with like the weirder, like just like creepy, like ugly guys who are just on the peripheral and they think they can get in on the action. All you have to do is just like push them aside, like don't.
See, that's my fear. I feel like I would be pushed. I'd like walk in.
No, you wouldn't be pushed. No, you would do so good.
I don't know.
You would do very well. I don't think it's about what your success rate would be. I think it's more about, your self-conscious level. You would have to let that go because people will stand around you. And like, there's times when like you're getting fucked and people are just like, yeah, you like that? Yeah. Oh, yes, he fucking you good? And they're like getting in your face and they're just like, oh, yeah. Sometimes like they even like to like touch, And And if you like them, you're like, yeah. But if you don't, you're just like,
you're like,
that's all right.
Yeah, I do. Wait, but you didn't get to the part where you changed positions.
What do you mean?
You told me on the phone yesterday.
Oh my god. Okay. Tan guy, puka shell necklace. This is when I'm already in the just setting the scene. Puka shell necklace.
Oh, and that really does.
And that really should have told me. That should have told me.
Yeah,
what was
you
gonna
should have
happen.
known. You
I
should have
known.
known.
He was probably one of the prettiest ones that I was engaging with.
Oh, see, and when they're pretty,
They're pretty.
They bottom.
So I was like, and at that point, this is actually right after Jersey Poppy guy. He had just finished, and he was like, "That was beautiful, thank you," and like he like bred
That was
me.
beautiful. Thank you. That's me. That's something I would do. I'm like, that was so thank you. Thank
and
you
it was
so
so funny
much.
because that was right before he got super busy. So like when I turned around, I saw him leave, and I was like, he had enough. He wasn't looking.
That's
for
all
more.
he needed. Did he come in you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I took 4 that night.
Oh,
That was
okay.
when my count really went up because I was trying to get them in. I was like, okay, I gotta reach, I gotta get my 4. So
And then you get home, you get back to the hotel, you're over the toilet, you're like,
so I turn around. This guy, beautiful skin. He has suit, kind of like tan like me, maybe a little dark, but he was like naturally that tan.
mm-hmm.
And I saw him, and then it was by like where this one canoe thing or like this like thing is, and everyone's there, and that's like the wall. It's like a canoe wall where like everyone just like stands there, like ass out,
Okay.
and everyone's just like like lining up, and like either just like couples are fucking there, or like a bottom's just like waiting to just get bread,
Sure.
or just load it up. So I was making out with him, and I was touching his dick, and he had a really nice dick, and then. What happens to me again is what happened to me last year, in which I'm just like making out with him and I'm blowing him and I'm just like, yeah. As soon as I get up,
He turns
the guy's
around.
like turn around and puts himself up on the thing. And I was like, not again. And like I said, there's always someone walking by. So of course he turns, and he's a really pretty boy. And of course, like there's like
They're all waiting for
like,
you to be done.
No, they were just waiting for me to fuck him.
So
they turned and they were like, yeah. And then he like goes down and like spreads out. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I gotta do this. Because again, I'm a performer.
I wouldn't have been able to. I would have gone soft from like all the pressure.
No. So I was like, okay, I gotta do this. Again, the saving grace with situations like this is that there's always somebody else that can go.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, this guy was vibing with somebody else too. So then I was just like, the guy was right next to me, like putting his arm around me, like as I was fucking him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, fuck his ass. And I was like actually doing pretty well. Like I wasn't, I wasn't getting close. Like I think the adrenaline was rushing, and I was like, yeah. And I was feeling a bit more masked because I I have like my dark hair now, and I have tan.
You were doing your whole Poppy cosplay.
I was in my and guess what? The fucking cross, my Jesus necklace was full young at the dick dog. So I was doing it. And so I kept focusing on the necklace because I was like, yeah, it's like masculine energy. I was like, you're fucking this guy. And I was like really getting in the zone, like method acting.
Uh-huh.
So I was like fucking, and then I was like, all right. And I was like, it's your turn. And the guy was like, yeah. And then as soon as the guy went, I was like, I ran away. I was like, yeah. I don't want to get stuck in the loop of me
going back and fucking him again.
Yes,
Oh
I
my
did
God.
want to ask that guy to fuck me, but it was just.
You should just turn. You should have when he turned around. You should have turned around too and just touched butts.
Hey girl,
Ooh.
I should have been fucking him and whisper in his ear, hey diva, just so you know,
can we flip?
Hey divalicious, just want you know, girl, love the necklace.
No, love the look. Where'd you get it?
Where'd you get it?
Also, congratulations on it. Do you want to try mine?
But that was the experience. It was such a fun time. And then we saw Miss Kathy Griffin to top it all off, who looks great, tip-top shape. She's doing fantastic. I was expecting to see her a little bit more hoarse her voice, but she got something implanted in her throat.
Yeah, because she's been posting a lot recently where she has her kind of normal voice coming back and whatever.
Yeah, and her hair is back to kind of D-list length, kind of. Mm-hmm. She's looking good. She showed up. I showed you a photo of in a bikini. She walked out in a bikini. Yeah. She looks incredible. It was so fun. By that point, all of us had kind of like a long night on Friday, so it took a lot of effort to like get our energy till 5 o'clock to not pass out because we had already checked out from the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
But trust and believe, Miss Kathy brought all of our energies back up. We were ready. We were ready. She was amazing. I loved it. It was such a fun time.
And while you were gone, I was just here fucking by DL Trey. Going to work. He's going to piss on me on Friday, maybe.
Now you're like a piss girl.
Well, he asked me yesterday.
Go piss girl, title of it.
Yesterday, I was like on my way home from Writers Group, and I took an Uber because the G isn't fully running to the station that I need to transfer. And so I was like, whatever, fuck it, I'll just get an Uber, it's late. And so like I was in the back of the Uber and he's texting me and whatever, and he was like, this is like probably gonna be weird to ask over text and not like on the apps, but do you have any like kinks that you want to try out, you know, since like, you know, we've been hooking up now for like a couple of weeks, like is there anything that you'd want to do? And he's like, because he's like, I really want to record. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I only have like one video of me like having sex with somebody. I was like, I would love to have more. I just haven't hooked up with someone consistently enough where I felt comfortable with them. And because he's so, you know, in the closet, I feel like it'll be fine. And so then I was like, yeah, and I would love to do that. And he's like, well, what else are you into? And I was like, well, I've been pissed on before and I kind of was into it. And then he's like, oh, I've never done that before. And then I was like, oh, okay. I was like, no pressure. And he goes, no. He's like, come over Friday before, because I'm swap shifts, so I'm working on Friday.
Boo.
And then he was like, why don't you come over on Friday before you work? And then he's like, I'm kind of pee shy though. He's like, I'm gonna have to like drink a couple of beers to like be able to do it. I was like, yeah, no worries, you don't have to do it. He goes, no, I want to. He's like, come over on Friday and I'll piss on you. And I was like, so.
Oh my gosh, she's into her piss era.
I know, and I get to see his apartment for the first time.
Oh my god, moving in.
I know, it's moving so fast.
You're gonna be in this room just like being like, okay, that's where I'm gonna put my clothes.
I'll be like,
that's
wow.
where I'm gonna put my purse.
Okay, that's where I'm gonna keep my toothbrush.
My curlers are gonna be right here. Mm-hmm. My sweaty underwear from the gym is gonna be hung on this knob.
My silk scarf that I wrap my head up every night before I go to bed to keep my curls intact, I'll keep it right there.
My messy drawer with all of my tarot cards and my freaky like old AirPods and my candles are gonna go right over here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I guess we should briefly discuss what's going to happen now.
Well, so the plan is we're going to go on hiatus. We have to figure out for how long still.
I know. And listen, this is the one honest portion of the pod. I feel like, you know, we want to go about this the most like organic way possible. Like, yes, you know, like we want to send emails. Yes, we want to see how the podcast can grow as far as like exposure and reaching out more people, because ideally, obviously, like that would be fun. That would be a great way for this to grow and be able to, you know, help us grow with it and become something else for us too. But something that happened in the first episode too is that we kept joking, you know, it's like for the Patreon, like all these things that we're like, okay, how can we continue growing and building more people, but also make the, you know, having a talk with Nick and I being like, okay, like what do we see, you know, how do we see the podcast growing, where do we see it going? And so these are things that we want to talk about. But as far as like coming back, like for sure we want to come back. We want to come back better, stronger, better microphones.
Yeah, better sound, for sure.
But then, you know, like we talked about this briefly like a few episodes back, but like I'm much more intrigued in the idea on how we can grow as a town altogether and not have to like rely on like a studio or this or that, or like having like, I mean, you know, like I love that we record from our apartments. I love that it feels like, you know, the townspeople are hanging out with their girlies, you know, and like maintaining that, but like growing. I don't know, you know, people always DM being like, if you had a Patreon, like I would pay for it, you know, like if I had this I would that. But then that would be great and all, like it would be fun to be like, hey, we're coming back to season 2 and we're gonna be on Patreon. But then how do we continue growing, you know?
Yeah,
the question is, how do we do that? So
that's what we're going to focus on while we're on hiatus, because I was getting a lot of questions from people thinking that we were going to reevaluate. When we say that we were going to reevaluate, they were scared that it meant that we weren't going to come back. No, we are, unfortunately, for all of you who hate us. We're coming back, but we're just going to figure out, you know, what the next steps are going to be, and then while we're on hiatus, we will release a little, like, mini episode here and there from the emails that you guys sent us. So just stay tuned. Follow us on Pioneers and Trailblazers on Instagram. We'll post all of the updates on there. You can follow us at Hey Peru on Instagram, and TikTok and Hey Peru _ on Twitter. You can follow me at Nicholas.Rose, Instagram, Clownface Bitch on TikTok. I'm making a comeback. And then Clownface Bitch on Twitter. For any updates on that stuff. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Do you have anything else you want to say? I mean, is there anything else that we can... let's see. Do you have one?
Wait, I did have one, and now I don't remember what it was. Oh, I guess it's probably Sabrina Carpenter's new album.
Oh my god, it's okay. Well, a lot of hidden samples or like inspiration from other songs, like a lot of R&B influencing a lot of the songs, the country influence I really like. My top 3 are definitely Good Graces, Slim Pickings, and Taste. Bedchem is close fourth. Just because Bedchem reminds me of this other song which I posted on my stories called So Into You by Tamia. So like it's hard for me to like, see as solely as its own song.
I like Taste, Coincidence.
I don't like Juno, even though everyone...
I like Juno.
So many people were just like, it's a Peru coded song. It's about her just being horny. And I'm like, yeah, but like...
And wanting a baby to put in her.
Yeah, but like... I'm like,
that's so me.
I know, but musically, it's not the most enticing song from the album for me.
You wouldn't understand.
Oh, I understand, Mama. I understand music.
You're not a petite, fertile young woman.
He texts me that, and I'm just like, fertile, yeah, petite? Mama, those childbearing hips.
They bear children for a reason.
Except, yeah, bearing children is no petite thing.
You're saying petite women can't have kids. Oh, so you're saying they can't.
No, they can't. No.
You heard your first. He's an anti-feminist. He's a misogynist.
I was going to say also, I mean, what is this? It's August, what's today? August 26th?
27th?
I would venture out and say...
It's the 27th.
Just for your reference, that like, I would venture out and say that we're probably going to be back sometime in November.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't think that's a stretch to say. But the only thing I wanted to say is if we're not here back on November 5th, please vote. It is your civic responsibility. If you're a new voter, if you're 18 and watching this, if you're an 18 years old townsperson,
register to vote. Please, whatever state you're at, this election is very, very important. And I told Nick I was going to make a political statement. This is me. Please vote. And please choose the one person that's going to look out for you in the long run. I know it's not the ideal scenario for a lot of us. But I think also it's important to remember that, yes, it is maybe not the most ideal candidate for certain things that are happening politically and that are happening internationally in the world. But I think it's important to also elect a person and then hold them accountable at the same time. So you don't have to agree with everything that they stand for, but you can choose the candidate that isn't going to ensure that all of the rights of marginalized people get taken away. And in support of a white Christian nationalist society.
Yeah.
And you can elect the person who is maybe the lesser of two evils, and then make sure to hold them accountable and continue to protest and continue to go out and make your voice heard, because that will enact change.
Yes, very true. And from my personal opinion, apart from Nick's, I will be vote. I don't vote because I'm not a citizen. But if I could vote, I would be voting for Miss Kamala, because I am a trust. I already send postcards over Ptown. We send postcards to Michigan, thanks to Town's council member Robert, who's very politically active as well. We're definitely going to be doing that's the party that I'm rooting for, and I'm really counting on to continue democracy in this country. And I do have this beautiful shirt that says "Sluts for Harris," which is really the group that I'm identifying myself with and aligning myself with politically. Sluts for Harris. And last but not least, I will say my thought always on this has been, if you are adamantly and stubbornly a single issue voter, it means that you have some privileges that you haven't been able to address about yourself, or you haven't been able to really sit down and look in the mirror really clearly and say, why am I just so invested in this one issue that's blinding me from other issues? Because that's just inherent privilege to just be a single issue voter. So my advice for anybody is just remember, it's not just your issue on the line, it's many issues on the line. And collectively, I feel like we need to be looking out for marginalized communities and standing up for their potential to have a better future in the United States of America. God bless us all. God bless America. I don't believe in God, but she's kind of fierce.
God is a woman.
The influence God.
Well, actually, no, God is non-binary.
God is a Caesar, which honestly
Well, look at
obnoxious.
this. I think we talked about this before, but he's a blue-haired liberal.
Wait, real quick. Wait, real quick. Oh my God, this is so funny because we were talking about this. Listen, as liberal as I want to be, I have yet to meet a person that goes by the pronouns Caesar. Have you ever met a Caesar?
In my personal life, I cannot say that I have.
Wait, I would be really intrigued. Maybe is that an inappropriate poll? No, it's just like being like.
No, I mean, well, maybe we don't do that.
But listen, but I mean, for example, like people
there is
polls like
Taylor,
women voters, men voters, non-binary voters. Like it's just to know what the audience is like.
Well, that is a part of the non-binary umbrella.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a Caesar,
and then you're getting into neo-pronouns, which is a whole discourse in and of itself.
What you said earlier.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention it?
I don't even remember what I said.
About.
Oh no, I don't.
I don't want
to get into that. I don't need that on record. But there's a discourse.
Listen, all the love to Caesar identifying people. I love Caesars.
And they're like, thank you so much. We love you too.
Thank you so much. If you're a Perude, if you're identified as Caesar,
instead of sluts for Harris, it's Caesars for Perudes.
Oh my God, Caesars for Perudes, my campaign.
Yeah, but yeah, I that's just a whole discourse in and of itself. Maybe we'll talk about it in the email little hiatus videos.
Wait. Okay, well now we're already in that. That townsperson has been asking us what our thoughts are as far as identity goes, but I guess we can pull up their name to shout them out. But then this person reached out to all of us. I think we may have overseen or just it got lost in the DMs, but this townsperson was asking us about identity, and oh my God,
hold on, I'm trying to find it.
It was one of the top ones, I think, from what you pulled. Oh, there you go. There's the third one down.
No, third. Oh, third.
Yeah.
Okay. So shout out to Jermaine.
Thank you, Jermaine, townsperson. Thank you. I know you were trying to get us to see this.
Babes, I desperately need the conversation about gender identity before y'all go on hiatus. Sent this to both sisters and PNT because I know Nick never checks his phone. On a serious note, though, I love the podcast so much. Y'all are so authentic. It's a breath of fresh air. Hope you guys have a show in LA someday. I'll definitely be there. Heart. Thank you so much.
We kind of just got into it organically, actually. So
I mean, I'm not essentially sure. Like, it is kind of a very broad question, just like the gender identity conversation. I don't know if that's referring to like how we are expressing ourselves or what. Mm-hmm. I'm going through my own thing. I have for like the last couple of months.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts on that as far as like what you want to wrap up this year with? I mean, we'll come back before the year ends, but still.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at a place where I'm still I feel like I'm in a new space or like new era of my life where I'm learning about myself and like learning things that I didn't necessarily understand previously in like terms of how I want to express myself and like the way that I feel inside my body and all that kind of stuff. And it is something where I feel like personally I need to do a little bit more research and I need to do a little bit more talking. I feel like I need to talk to other people about it in my personal life before I, talk about it in such a broad way. But the thoughts are happening. Things are being questioned and all of that stuff. But I will say there was a girl who came up to me on Sunday. I was on the phone with my mother and I was like sitting outside after work and I was like in the West Village, just sitting on a stoop. And I finished the call. And as soon as the call was done, this girl comes up to me and she was like, "You're the guy from TikTok?" And I went, "Guy?"
She was like, "Wait."
And then I was like, "Maybe." And then she goes, "I think you're the guy." And then I was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "Okay, let's clock that. And then she asked for a selfie. She's very sweet. And then I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then she's like, "I love your content." And I was like, "Okay, great. Thank you." But there are moments where it's like, I can say that like I have become more in tune with my femininity in recent months. I would say this probably all started, I don't know. Like, I started growing out my hair like over a year ago. So like, I think with growing out my hair and all of that, and then also feeling the desire to not center like men in my life in the way of like feeling the like needing to be sexually desirable to men, because I feel like I've for the longest time presented in a particular way that I was like, well, this is gonna get me dick. Like
Yeah.
this is
Your
gonna
mask fishing era
my mask fishing era, which you know
had its ups and downs, trials and tribulations.
even when you try to mask fish, mama, you know.
You listened and you learned.
I'm listening and learning to find the boyfriend within. Thank you, Brad Gooch.
When you lost yourself, you will find the voice within.
What is that?
It's like Christina Aguilera's song, "The Voice Within."
Okay.
The Dig Within. Title of it.
The woman within.
Wait, the Dig Within, because our first episode was Idea of a Dig. The Dig Within. Oh, gross.
Well, that's why I said doing splits on the DL dig.
I don't know.
That one's funny.
I might do Dig Within, sorry.
No, doing splits on the
I
DL dig.
edit. It's my edit. It's my choice.
Vote for the title. I'm right. And if it's different than what I said, girl, just know that he's a hater.
I'm not a hater. It's just, like, that's the privileges of editing.
The Zers probably want splits on the dig.
Oh, no. This is trust and believe, the Zers are very about thinking and very about, like, spiritualism. So they love the Dig Within, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're generalizing.
Well,
you're stereotyping.
If I may say something about gender, is that construct, of course, but I struggled for a long time. And I jokingly said, like, I want to be cosplaying as like Brown Poppy on this trip, and like I dyed my hair black because I wanted to like exude that. And like the more I find identity through, like, it's something as silly as dyeing your hair means you're more feminine, right? Like still painting your nails and wearing like shiny necklaces means like, oh, they're queer coded, less gay coded. Does that make sense? And so like I've been going back and forth with like gay coding, queer coding, brown coding. Like identity is so broad and so gender to me. As of the last 2 years, I always thought maybe I'm not just a gay man. Maybe I'm more of like on the non-binary male spectrum, just because I feel like I do have the urge for femininity in many ways of expression beyond just me having a penis and me being male and looking like a man, Like I don't, for example, I never encounter what Nick encounters sometimes, where like random people on the street yell at him, "Are you a boy or are you a girl?" Which you tell me
happened yesterday.
Yeah, and every time it happens, like Nick tells me, and obviously I make fun of him because he's weird.
Well, I think it's funny. It was a crackhead. I literally walked past a crackhead, and he was
You
like,
can't say crackhead anymore.
"Oh, I don't give a fuck. I'm not PC."
Wow. Oh, so Nick loves to eat. Okay, so, but that being said, it's like, I always felt like I never struggled with people looking at me and seeing a man, right?
Mm.
Just like people sometimes look at me and I don't know if they're first seeing a gay guy or a brown guy, right? Like for a long time, my joke was just like people see me as gay before they see me as brown. That's always been like my thing, I say.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes I end up having people just come up to me and then being el baño, like doing microaggressions like that. And I'm just like, oh, okay, like does that mean like I give more brown than gay? But then ultimately how I see myself, I'm like, well, I see myself as a guy. I love being a man. I love having a penis.
Love it.
I love it. But then, as far as femininity goes, sometimes I do feel the urge to like present more femininely, like wearing a skirt or like all the clothes that I buy. 80% of them are women's clothing because I identify with that better. Like I like it better. It makes me feel more comfortable with myself. And then ultimately, I feel like sometimes in bed, I either wanna exude masculinity, like the performance of masculinity, which we know is a performance. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I like performing that, and sometimes I like performing a lot more feminine energy, a lot more, like, yeah, fuck my pussy energy, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so it really fluctuates. And if the question is what are our ultimate thoughts on it, it's just like it's gonna be ever changing, and you can feel one way one day and feel another the other day, and no one should fucking question it.
Yeah, and I feel like I might have told this story on the pod before, but like, so like, tell me if I have. But there was like one time it was like
you have.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. No, it was one time. It was like it was the summer after my freshman year of college. I was back home, and I had just discovered I had like really found an appreciation for thrift shopping when I like moved to New York, because it felt cool because they had like cool stuff, whatever. And like the thrift stores here versus like back home, I would only ever go to Goodwill to buy Halloween costumes or stuff for plays or whatever that I needed to perform in. And so it was like the summer that I was like back, and I was with a friend, one of my best friends, and we were just shopping, and I was shopping in the women's section because a lot of my clothes, similarly to Peru, are from the women's section, just because I like the fit and the style better. And one of the workers came up to me and she was like, "This is the women's section."
Oh yeah.
Did I tell this? Did I tell this already?
Yeah, but still, bears repeating.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh yeah, I know. And then like wouldn't leave me alone and kept coming up to me and was like, and it was very like homophobic and like microaggressive and like whatever. And I, water off a duck's back. I was like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. But so there's that. And then I also just like sometimes, for me personally, sometimes how I experience it is when I get on the train or like if I'm around in public and like I see somebody either one check me out or something, usually when it's like a man, I always feel immediately nervous that they're expecting masculinity from me, and that's something that I feel like I can't necessarily give them what they want, and that's probably me maybe projecting that insecurity onto them. But there have been plenty of times where it's like there's a masculinity from the mask fishing era that I maybe wasn't intentional always. I just happened to maybe look a little bit more masculine in those photos, but then to feel that there's this idea of what I should be like, and then when I'm showing up and then disappointing these people, and then it's like, well, that makes me feel shitty. And I don't necessarily feel like the urge to like want to dress in like skirts and things and dresses and stuff. Like I know I can if I want to. Like I feel like I don't have anything necessarily holding me back from doing that. That's not necessarily like something that I'm like, I wish I could do that. I just like can't because of society. Like I paint my nails, like whatever. Like,
and with clothing, I mean, for some people, clothing can be the way that they like that they are expressing their gender, or but not for everyone. Like for some people, like for Nick, a skirt can just be a fucking skirt. For me, wearing a skirt one day could be like, I'm feeling feminine today, so I'm gonna wear a skirt. Like it doesn't have to mean, clothing doesn't have to mean all.
Right. Yeah. And so like I think, I don't know, and it's just like the performance of masculinity I don't like doing. Like that I have learned about myself. Like in college, I joke about this all the time, but when I was in acting school, they would only cast me in gay roles, like sissy gay roles. And I would get kind of annoyed and kind of pissed. And I'm like, listen, I'm an actor. Like I'm learning, I'm paying that like so much money on tuition to come to this place to be able to learn how to challenge myself or whatever. And I was like, I want to play these masculine roles. Like I want to play like a straight character or whatever. And like I can do it, but it's so exhausting to like put on that performance because it's so different from who I am, and it feels so inauthentic to me. But it's something that like I can do, but it's like I would rather be doing that as like a character on stage versus like every day in my life. Yeah,
and I ultimately have much more interest in putting more of a spotlight and limelight on characters that are much more complex than the ones that we have already discovered. So like ultimately, being from a creator's perspective and a producing perspective, like I envision me creating things that are much more complex with different people who are queer, at the center, and not having to be like me. I think ultimately the challenge for me would be like to go back to my roots and like play like a Latin homophobic dad, like that would be like a challenge for me to play. But do I have any interest? We'll see. Like it depends.
And I think a lot now, like when I'm having these questions or like thoughts that swirl in my mind of like where I see myself going when it comes to the gender conversation and like how I see myself, I am always, my first thought is the work, like acting jobs. Like what am I gonna like am I limiting myself? Like what happens in like this scenario, whatever. But I'm also like, girl, you're not booking anything right now, so it's like not even that big of a deal. And also like similarly, I'm writing my own work, I'm doing my own stuff, so ultimately I will just make my own stuff happen for myself, which will be these nuanced three-dimensional characters that are things that maybe have not been displayed in media in a way that I feel like they should be. Yeah.
Ultimately, what makes us different is what's going to get us the spotlight that we want and what's going to get us out there and noticed by people. So that can just be the conclusion to that topic. Just continue being you and own yourself and know that whatever you think today can change tomorrow.
And also like I also am like thinking constantly, again, this is the last thing that I'll say, but I have been thinking a lot, I'm like, because like gender just being a construct, I like have so many thoughts to myself where I'm like, girl, like if we didn't gave everything like a set gendered like bias versus like clothing or like whatever, I'm like, if we just like allowed ourselves to present however the hell we wanted despite what we have going on downstairs, upstairs, blah blah blah, like life would be so much easier and beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it's just societal. It's also within our community. I mean in P-Town, like every boy was wearing this, everyone's wearing this speedo, everyone's wearing the thong, and it's just like okay. I mean ultimately just people feel safer when they blend in and when they feel like they're safe and that they feel like they'll belong. And the sense of belonging does not escape me. Like I understand the feeling to belong. You know when you get rejected for X, Y, and Z reason, or like you don't feel like you're attractive to someone because of X, Y, and Z reason. You know, like it's like oh, like well, I don't have a six pack, well, I don't have this, but then you have to remind yourself the things that you do have, you know, and what makes you unique, and what makes you stand out, and what makes you feel good about yourself. Not because you're doing it for others, your performance of gender or your performance of anything. It's just like, you know, you will have a much more fulfilling life when you go out every day and you're doing things that make you inherently happy. Because when people see you happy, that's when I find myself, I'm like, wait, people
happy
like
people don't kill people.
Yeah, a happy, what's it called? Exercise produces endorphins. Endorphins make people happy. Happy people just don't kill their husbands. I think that's the quote.
I think it is.
Anyway, oh my God, it's our season finale. Well,
we did it.
We did it, Joe. And listen, we did it, Joe. We did it, Kamala. If this goes out after the election,
this will go before the election.
I love my sister.
And I love my sister too.
And we love you all, townspeople. Thank you for doing. This is crazy that we've been doing this a year. So thanks to you. Please continue watching
and follow and subscribe.
Listen, we're gonna be doing those capsule episodes, visual learners, listeners, but go back. You know what? Let's be honest. Those like videos with the like low views, watch them again.
Share them.
Share them
with your friends.
Tell a friend. This is gonna be the time for growth for us because
clip them. Post edits on TikTok.
Yes, clips for socials. Clips. So yeah. You know, people be like posting clips of like Trixie and Katya, like all this, like fucking like Maribeth Barone, Pat, Cat. I'm like, why are people not? Come on, the Peru to nick them. Start clipping videos from our pod. If you're rewatching a video and you saw a funny clip it, tag us, clip, and trust and believe. I'll be reposting all of them. Trust and believe, not Nick.
Well, we don't know that. Don't say that.
Wow.
Well, we don't know. It'll give you incentive to post because then I'll share.
He'll share, and then he'll put like Nick reshare this, and like the Nick things are gonna be like ah.
Okay, you know where to follow us. We already talked about it like 20 minutes ago.
But we love you, and we'll see you for season 2.
Bye.
Oh my God, sad.
Episode 52.
TNT season finale.